Hello, the internet, and welcome back to the live stream. It is Saturday, the 21st of March, 2020, and today I will be live for 95 minutes. Wow, welcome, folks. What an age, what a world, what a time we're living in. Coronavirus, this thing is kicking off in a big way, is it not? To put this in historical perspective, I don't think we felt that we'd be where we are right now. If you went back, say, 2 months, did we think we would be in this position? I don't know if we did. Certainly our governments weren't very forthcoming. Maybe that's the wrong word. I guess that not just here. Okay. Here in Australia, I feel like we're well behind the rest of the planet when it comes to this virus, in the sense that we're not really putting forward our best opportunity to kill this thing on its head. Instead, in Australia, we're reacting to what's going on. The rest of the planet seems to be preempting what may happen and shutting stuff down in preparation. The difference there in Australia, we seem to be chasing our tail, trying to catch up to what's going on. And a bunch of things have gone down this week, which we can talk about in a little while. I guess the first thing I want to do is say hello and welcome to the Chit Chats. I see Mindy's channel. I see Tim Arskog. I see Rochelle. I see Fred. I see Adrian Banks. I see Aero Gamer. That is one.
Steak?
Money's too tight for steak.
Steak?
Who dropped the super chat? Adrian Banks dropped the super chat. Adrian Banks, $8 super chat, my friend. Steak? Money's too I should have changed that to toilet paper. There's none left. Adrian, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Let's Lisa Smart up in the chit chat as well. Lisa, hello Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you're playing at. Doesn't have to be morning for you. It is for me. First things, you can see there's a difference here, right? This stream setup is different, and this is coronavirus based as well. I'm up in the Benny Flat. Now, what's the Benny Flat? If you're kind of new to the channel, this space here where I am right now, this used to be my space. I used to live here, right? There's a room in here as well. A room through there. And there's also one out the other side through that way. And each one of these is a carport or a garage that's converted to a living space. How's my light's flickering? And I used to live here about 2.5 years ago. This was my space. Never streamed live from here, or did we? Did we do live creator casts from here? I think we only did pre-recorded. We never did live from here. I never had a decent internet connection. That's right, yeah. And so I'm up here now from the Benny Flat because of the virus, right? So toilet paper money. Thank you, Adrian. Let's put the chat up on the screen so you guys can read along as well. Toilet paper money. Let me just give you all a nice cheers, nice warm welcome. Thank you for swinging by. I know this is a strange time in history, a strange time in life, a strange time of the day for a lot of people. I appreciate you swinging by here on the YouTube. Okay, calm down. I get really, really nervous here. I don't know why. I still can't work that out, but I'm shaking here. I'm shaking to stream to you guys on YouTube, and I don't get that on DLive at all. I get it here on YouTube. It's very strange. So what happened in our family that put me up here at the Benny Flat? You may or may not know, my sister and her partner James, James runs a business, and one of their core businesses inside that business is to provide secure access to areas for particular, it could be a government installation, it could be a private installation, whatever it is. It's like, you know, when you have like a lanyard or a Zap card or something, and like you work, let's say you work in a bank, and 20 of the employees need to get access through that door, and then 5 of them need to get access through that door. Well, these are all done through secure hardware and software installations. That's what this company does. Now, one of the big the big contracts that they had or that they were pitching was for the Navy here in Australia for ships. So when you go out to sea on a ship, you need secure access to certain areas of the ship. Not everyone can access the bridge, for instance, or the underdock or whatever it is, right? So you need secure access. And that's what this company was providing here in Australia.
Money's too tight for steak.
Steak?
Could you please look at the useful comment I sent?
Fred Barry, thank you for the super chat. The 230 euro. That's euro, isn't it? 330 euro. Thank you very much, Fred. Can I look at your useful comment you sent? I can see it there. It says hello. I see your comment once, twice. You've said hello. Unless you're referring to a YouTube channel comment, in that case, we can certainly look through those comments momentarily. I do want to talk about some comments I've had. Is that what you're referring to, Fred? You're referring to a comment you put on the channel? If you're referring to a comment in the chat, I just see you saying hello twice. So thank you for the hellos. So this pitch for the British Royal Navy to have this hardware software installation on board their ships. So this has been in the running for this is a multi-million-dollar contract. This is huge. This has been in the running for a long time. Of course, the coronavirus kicked off right at the start of this year, I guess, or the end of last year. But the travel bans and all that kind of kicked in later. So this has been planned forever, and it's like, well, what are we going to do? There was a point where the idea of going across to England was completely closed, right? We're not going to go to England. We can't. The virus there's too much at stake, right? And then it got flipped, and then it was back on. And so I had to come up from where I live to house sit and mind the children, Poopsie and the kids, up here. So that was off, then it was back on. And just now, this morning, my sister and her partner have arrived back in Australia. They basically went across there on Sunday night. Monday morning, our time, they flew across. The pitch was on Thursday morning. They made the pitch. Everything was fine. They literally went straight to the airport and flew directly back to Australia. So they're back here now, but they've gone from the airport past where I am. I'm in the Shire. If you know Sydney, I'm in the Shire, Janelli. So they've gone from the airport, Janelli, and now they're on their way straight down to Culburra Beach, 2 hours to the south, where I'm normally at. They're going to self-quarantine for a week and then get checked and then potentially self-quarantine for another 7 days. At that point, we'll swap over and we'll go back down there and they'll come up here and continue to live in quarantine up here. So we didn't even see them this morning. I put the key, they got a cab from the airport. I put the key to their vehicle in the letterbox, and we didn't even go outside. They turned up, got the key, got in the car and left. So if they do have the coronavirus coming back from the UK, it's a high possibility. They haven't given it to anybody here because we didn't social distancing. They were out on the street, we're in the house. So we're all good at that point. Fred says, I sent you on the Jack Daniel's Perry pre-mix video. Okay, we'll pull that up in a second. Definitely, Fred. We'll definitely get there. Michael up in the chit chat. Good evening. Hello, Michael. How do you do? Good to see you, buddy. Good to have you here. Strange stream for me up in the Benny Flat. Werebear. Hey, y'all. G'day, Werebear. How you doing, man? Good to see you. It's on the Jack Berry video. Okay, we'll definitely read that. I'm very intrigued about that comment. I haven't seen it this morning, or did I see it? I've seen a few comments, unless you must have just put it up there. Either way, we'll get to that. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping here before we move further into the discussion. And the discussion today is a discussion about relationships, not so much about the coronavirus. I'm kind of waiting to see if someone pops in here. We had a discussion last night on DLive. Shyla Rose suggested this would be the topic of conversation on this stream today. So she said, hey, can we talk about this tomorrow on the YouTube? So I'm sort of waiting to see if Shyla turns up. But either way, I want to do some housekeeping here first before we get too deep in. First thing, look at my skin cancer, folks. Look how clean up that has become. Look at that. Look how clean that is. It's pretty much gone from absolutely hideous to actually pretty nice. Like, I mean, you've seen this, the state of my skin cancer as this thing's progressed along. That's a pretty clean. I mean, I don't like the pink. Hopefully the pink disappears, but it's pretty cool, pretty clean, pretty clean, right? It's pretty clean, pretty much fixed. I mean, 5 weeks of treatment and then 3 days. What is it? No, I stopped treating on. I've been up here since Monday. We stopped treating on Friday, so I had the entire week. It's now Friday to Friday. No, it's Friday to Saturday. I've had a week and 1 day with no treatment, and that's the result. Completely cleaned up. So that's a little bit of housekeeping for my own sanity and how I feel. And I feel great, by the way, if anyone's asking. There was some issues with that where I did feel pretty down and a little bit run down, potentially virusy. But at the moment, without a week of treatment, I feel fine. Back to normal. Perfect. Where did you have it? Where, Bear, did you have it? Asked Fred Parry. You drink it in a second? Oh, you're holding one right now. Let me just grab. Are you literally holding one of those cans right now? I'm gonna grab mine. I got some empty ones. I want to just show you, make sure you got the same thing. Let me just grab it from here. Werebear, is this what you're talking about? Werebear, is that what you? Let me just put this back on. Is this what you're talking about, Werebear? You've got one of these. You've got one of these in your possession right now. This is Jack Daniels and Berry. You see this? Is that what you've got right now, dude? It's terrible. I made a review of it and it's terrible, disgusting. I really didn't like it, and I love my Jacks. Now, speaking of Jack, I want to tell you some other great news. Now, this person not often comes across to the YouTube. The handle we're looking for is a person by the name of Sin Master. Sin Master, or Sin Master if you're an Aussie. Is that a whiskey cola? No, Michael, it's not a whiskey cola. It's a whiskey berry. Look closely. Berry. See how it says berry there? Not cola. Berry. Berry. Berry disgusting. If you want to learn about it, we're going to have a look. I'm not going to play my entire vlog here, but we're going to talk about the comment that came through from Fred about this. We'll get to it though. We'll get to it. But speaking of whiskey and Sin Master, over on DLive, Sin Master sent me some fan artwork, right? He sent some artwork here to my sister's house. It's easier to send stuff international to Janali, the Big Smoke. It's cheaper than going all the way into a rural area where I live. So Sin Master sent this to my sister, and because I'm up here, I picked it up. I want to show you what he sent me. This box, I'll make this big so you guys can all see it. Look at this. That's upside down. This beautifully crafted box with the Gives a Minute logo, my name, Benon, and the Gives a Minute handle at the top there. Inside this box, yeah, you see what's missing from there? That's a whiskey decanter and glasses. And I want to show you the decanter, what it is. Look at this. Gives a Minute whiskey decanter. I'm going to tilt that so you can see it with the whiskey behind it. It's got my name on it, Benon. It's got the Gives a Minute logo. It's got the word Gives a Minute across the top here. At the moment, it's filled with Jack Daniels 1907, the greatest Jack Daniels, only an Australian release. It's a hard one to open, this one. And I'm not drinking today on the stream, but crikey, that's absolutely beautiful. Hendrik up in the chit chat. Morning, Hendrik. Hello, how are you, my friend? Adrian Banks, not very nice. Yeah, not very nice at all. And in that decanter pack, 2 Gives a Minute whiskey glasses with my name on it. Look at that, the Gives a Minute logo, Gives a Minute, and my name, Benon, on these glasses. Now, unfortunately, these are very, very small glasses. They're almost like shot glasses. I drank from these last night on the DLive stream, and I'll drink again tonight on the DLive stream, but they're a little on the small side. But I want to just say thank you to Sin Master. Sin Master, if you're watching this at any point in history or whatever it is, dude, much appreciation, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for being so generous, so kind, and so thoughtful. If I could nitpick at one thing, I would say the lid is a little difficult to get off, but then again, that's probably a safety thing. Also, it's a liter decanter, and this is a 700ml bottle, so that's why there's some missing, and also I drank some last night. This is Jack Daniels. Probably always going to be Jack Daniels in here. Much appreciation. That is so nice of you, man. I still can't believe how generous that is. It's so beautiful. Next time, can you send it to me filled with whiskey, though? I'm just kidding. I'm being a dick. I'm kidding. Another piece of housekeeping I want to alert you to, folks. Over on my YouTube channel, which we're going to go to momentarily to check Fred's comments. Over on my YouTube channel, I am literally one upload away from 2,000 uploads to the channel. Now, how can we confirm this? We can confirm this by going across to the Discord, to the Social Blade and having a look. Let's make this a little larger if we can. Does that not make it larger? Can't we go up with the font? Yes, there we go. So look at that, folks. Uploads are 1,999 uploads to my YouTube channel. That means today's daily vlog will send that to 2,000. 2,000 uploads. Now you might say, well, dude, it's quality, not quantity. I understand that, and I agree with you. And I've done quality from the beginning. My content is quality. Now you might say, your daily vlogs are shit, dude. They're just 4 minutes with no editing. That's my take on the daily vlog concept. If you want to see my quality, my edited, my stitched together content, go and check my regular vlogs, of which I've done 298 regular vlogs. And if you want to see even more quality, come here onto the live stream, which you're on right now, and you will see the quality. So if you're saying to me, anyone can do 2,000 videos, man. Well, I beg to differ if you have a look at my content. And I'm stoked to say that one more upload makes me 2,000 uploads to YouTube. So this stream will be 2,000. Actually, no, Mindy, this stream will not be, because this stream was put up last night public, and that sent it to 1999, even though it hadn't been live at that point, but it was public. So it's whatever public videos are on your channel. I've got a few unlisted videos on my channel which don't add to the total. But yeah. Maybe it's a twist off. Thank you for checking them. Fred says, okay. So let's have a look at what Fred's talking about. Let's go to, I'm going to go to my YouTube channel here. I guess I can do this from Social Blade, can't I? We'll go here. We'll check this out on YouTube. So we're looking for Fred's comment here. We're going to go down. Fred says, noticed. And yeah, I did see that. I said, thanks, Fred. Okay, so here's your comment, Fred. Fred says, I've noticed how much... Can you guys see that?
Rent investing is when you rent somewhere to live and you buy an investment property.
Shut up. Pre-roll ad didn't even tell me it was rolling. Get out of here, ads. So I'm going to read Fred's comment. I'm going to make this a bit larger if I can for all you yahoos. Fred says, 27 minutes ago, that's why I haven't seen this, Fred. It says, I've noticed how much you've improved. I live on the other side of the world from you, and the waves are much harder to surf. I've got some tips. Go higher on top of the wave, and I recommend putting on a grip on the end of your surfboard. Trust me, I could see you were falling off sometime, and it was always your back foot. It will help a lot, I recommend. Okay, Fred, first of all, I want to say thank you for dropping a comment. If I could be so bold to do this, you've posted that comment about surfing on a video that's not related to surfing. So that vlog is the Jack Daniels berry review. German only Jack Daniels berry premix is disgusting. That's what that is. That's what that video is. But you've put a comment about surfing. I'm not trying to be... I don't want to come across the wrong way here. I don't want to come across as ungrateful. I'm totally stoked that you've commented, and I appreciate you, and I thank you for it. It's going to be a little confusing to somebody coming onto the channel when they see that, because people read the comments sections, and that's not relating to... I didn't even talk about surfing in that video. Again, don't worry about it. I take the comment on board. My plan in terms of a tail pad, that's what you're referring to, a tail pad or a stomp pad. My plan with that was to, when I start a new board, if I can find a new surfboard sponsor, now that I've lost Global Surf Industries, if I could find a new sponsor and get a fresh board, I would certainly start with a stomp pad on that board. Now, I've purposely just used wax from the get-go, but I realize, and from watching the pro surfers, they all use stomp pads. So I'll definitely step up to a stomp pad. I'll do it on a fresh board though. I won't strip the 7S Superfish from its wax and put a stomp pad on. I'll wait until I get a fresh board to start afresh. I did it so you would see it quickly. Sorry. Oh no, dude. That's cool. It's totally fine. As a YouTuber, I get a notification every comment you leave. Like, it doesn't matter what video it's on. Like, I go into my dashboard and all the comments are there. I get comments from videos I've uploaded 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I get that the same time that I get whatever. So there's no, if you put a comment on and this is a notification to every content creator or every person watching content. If you comment on a video, the creator sees it. If it's a creator that gets 10,000 comments every 3 minutes, they're probably not going to physically see it, but it comes into the same space where we all see them. It's not about the most recent video getting on the top. It's about any comment. It's the most recent comment that gets on top, right? And then you can even filter through comments I haven't responded to, comments from subscribers, comments from people in certain area, whatever. You can filter right through. So yeah, we all see it. But I understand, and by the way, you get a double banger here because we're discussing the comment on the chat. So even better, right? Like, we're talking about it and we've seen it. At least I know now. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And like, honestly, why would you not know? Like, yeah, I get it. I get you. And I appreciate it. Like, don't get me wrong. I totally appreciate it. Speaking of comments, I did get a extremely beautiful comment. I want to read this to you now, folks. This comment basically summed up my channel perfectly. Let me read this to you. This is from Graham H. Now, Graham's talking about my fin chop initially. He says, just tis a flesh wound, trials and tribulations, even the most fortunate. You're a battler. Now, he said in regards to my channel not getting big numbers, this is his comment. Regarding a previous video of yours discussing doing numbers on this platform, YouTube, I think there's a disconnect between your genuine entertaining content and mass appeal. You should wear that as a badge of honor that you're not hashtag on trend, hashtag hyper stimulating, hashtag clickbait, hashtag 20 something and beautiful. But also recognize that you may not be likely able to grow the channel without being those things. So you see what he said there? He said, you should wear this as a badge of honor that you're not on the trending tab and you're not getting pumped through YouTube, through the algorithm, because you're not hashtag on trend, hashtag hyper stimulating, hashtag clickbait, hashtag 20 something and beautiful. We can talk about clickbait later if you want, because I disagree with that one. But the catch there, or the clincher there, is also recognize that you may not be likely to grow without those things. So it's like a two-edged sword here. YouTube seems to have an agenda. Oh, that too, but that's not the word he said. YouTube seemed to have an appetite for daily extravagance and the clearly absurd. I'd agree with that. YouTube seemed to have an appetite for that, and they want to push that shit forward, right? It's refreshing that you're not, nor are you attempting to present the illusion of those things. The closest you can genuinely get to hashtag on trend is perhaps hashtag van life, and that'll come with the streaming from Stevan content. But then again, that seems to be saturated market as well. Now, this is where right here, this person, Graham H, has completely won me over. I think this is the greatest compliment anyone's ever given me. And I salute you, Graham, if you are in this chat or if you're watching the rerun. Dude, you've completely, categorically, undeniably rounded my channel out perfectly. This is exactly my channel. You don't know me, but you do, and you've demonstrated it here in this comment. He says, I think my continued interest in your channel is to stay in touch with the macro level narrative. I feel your ongoing narrative is a lesson in cognitive behavioral therapy. Very, very cool. Also, you seem to embody a fairly stoic approach to life. And artistically, there's definitely merit to documenting routine in its minuta. Now, I think what he's saying is because I document nearly everything of my life and I put it out there for global consumption, that's intriguing for him. That's interesting. That's intriguing for me. That's interesting for me. That's my life. Now, I've done that my whole life. It's just that YouTube turned up, and I turned up on YouTube much later, but in 2006 or 2007 when this thing kicked off, I didn't realize that what I could use YouTube for documenting the routineness of my life, documenting that for YouTube. And that's why Graham comes back here. And then this one sentence at the end here, awesome. He says, "I'm not sure what compels you, but keep it up." It is so freaking beautiful. Who did that? Someone just followed over on YouTube. Someone subscribed. IT Nixon, ITX Nation, thanks for becoming a giver over on YouTube, right here on the channel. Appreciate you. Yeah, and I if I can speak on behalf of Graham, I think that is a wonderful summation of my channel. It hits it very clearly that this channel is never going to be as big as I'd want it to be, right? It's never going to pop to the sensation of 30, 40,000 views every video I drop. That's not going to happen. And I understand that. Unless I find a girlfriend, and this is going to tie into the conversation today, unless I find a girlfriend who I can use for content, you know, a scantily clad chick on the channel for content, but then that's also got to be my life and my experience. I'm not going to fake it, but I understand that. And I'm not going to change my content to follow a trend or to chase a number. You never saw me do a fidget spinner video, did you? I didn't do fidget spinners. I'm not going to do fidget spinners. You're not seeing me do 12 videos on a fucking shark, right? I'm not going to chase the number like that. I'm going to stay true to who I am, and I'm going to continue to document my life, sharing it with you guys here on YouTube and on DLive. We get a great feedback from DLive. We get great response from the givers on DLive. We've got a great community on DLive. I'd argue I haven't been able to build that community as good on YouTube due to the fickle nature of YouTube, right? The way people use YouTube, the way people can ingest YouTube is different to the way people ingest DLive. DLive, I've got regular, and I've got regulars here. I see you guys all there. I'm not denying that, but it's different on YouTube. On DLive, it's more of a, you know, and like I say every week here, it's nerve-wracking here on YouTube. And DLive is just like, hey man, you know, bust out the jacks, have a chit chat, listen to some music, have a good conversation. It's not like that on YouTube. You've always got to follow the pattern, follow the thing, follow the dictatorship of what YouTube is. Ironically, that's not what it began as. It began as your own tube, you're a broadcaster. You can broadcast what you want. It ain't like that anymore at all. But, and I say this every time we have this kind of discussion, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm staying on YouTube. I'm going to continue to do what I do. And those that come in, such as Graham, Mindy, I saw your comment. I dig all that. Totally agree with Graham. It's this stuff, this content, the way that this works and the way that you guys embrace it. I would rather have the beautiful few that I've got than have a whole bunch of people I can't connect with. So that's where I'm at. That's a little bit of housekeeping for the Gives a Minute YouTube channel. Jimbo up in the chit chat. Seems the earth is not a ball. Well, we did discuss that last week, the flat earth, and that was very interesting. I've got some other points to say on that, but that's not for the stream today. Folks, I want to talk to you about the content, the discussion topic today on the stream. It's about relationships, but to get us there, I've made a sneaky little video, not a sneaky video. I went out into the Royal National Park this week and I thought I would roll this content. Now, this is not a super quick wave a day edit. This is not a slightly random daily song. This is just what I did in the Royal National Park. It's why you shouldn't go walking in the national park wearing flip-flops.
Well, hello, the live stream. This is me talking to you, not on the live stream. This is just me giving me some time to go to the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, or get a Jack, or whatever it is I'm getting, and come back. This is the time that I can do that, right? So you guys can get some kind of... You see that thing land in my mouth? Was that a fly? Something landed in my mouth just then. Tasted it, didn't quite like it. This is the chance that you can see what I did today before the live stream. Now, you can see me hobbling here. You see me hobbling. You see me rolling. Why am I hobbling? First of all, where the hell am I? I'm in the Royal National Park. Look at this beauty. The Royal National Park, folks. This is about 20 k's to the south of Sydney. The main city of this country, Sydney. This is the Royal National Park. I'm in it. I'm on it. I'm doing it. I'm here right now. And I've been down here doing a Jack Daniels premix review. Now, what Jack Daniels did I review today? I gotta tell you, wasn't very nice. I reviewed the Jack Daniels and Berry, the German premix. You know, you get Coke premix with Jack, and you get Lynchburg lemonade, and you also get dry. And in Australia, we get ginger as well, which is not dry ginger, it's another one. There's dry, there's lemonade, and there's ginger beer. Well, in Germany, they get berry. And I gotta tell you, it was bad, really, really bad. I did not like it. You're gonna have to wait for the YouTube video to see exactly how bad I thought it was. But I could show you well, I kept the cans. I'll show you what the can. See you later, birds. The birds are out of here. Did you hear that? The birds just went, see you later, alligator. Well, I'll show you the can here. You know what I'll do? I'll put you guys up here. Ay, ay, ay. And then I'll explain why I'm barefoot right now. Or not barefoot, 1 foot missing. Let me just put you up here. This is kind of like a slightly random daily song and also a super quick wave a day edit, but it's neither of those. It's me just talking to you. Don't get too, what's the word? Comfortable with these. They're not going to be regular. I just thought today it'd be pretty cool to show you. So let me get the Jack can out and show you this can for those Germans. G'day, Perd Beer. Mainly just, well, Perd Beer is an Aussie living in Germany. If there are any Germans here, Guten Tag, wie geht's du? Mein Name ist Benon und meine, I don't know what channel is. I'm out. My German is shit. Meine Deutsch ist scheiß. Let me just get this out for you. And so, this is the can we reviewed today. Jack Daniels, Tennessee whiskey, and berry. You see the word berry there, folks? It's a oh, that's way too dark, isn't it? Let me just give you some more light in the subject. Look at that, berry, folks. Jack Daniels and berry. Wow, wow, what? Very strange mix. Don't get excited. Shithouse. Very, very disgusting, I thought. I didn't think there was much. This was terrible. I thought this was. I didn't think it was berry. I thought it was like guava or even choco. You know what a choco is? I thought it was the flavor of a guava mixed with choco. When I see berry on there, I think sweet like strawberry, blueberry, raspberry. I think those kind of berries. I don't think like tart, harsh, where your whole mouth goes, that kind of berry. I didn't think that. I mean, I don't know. Are the Germans more liberal with their flavors? That berry could be choco or like I thought it was guava. Let me put it back in here. I'm going to keep this because I think it's important to, you know, document this, right? This is a strange can. Look at the can. It's purple. 10% by volume too. Hallelujah. It's the only saving grace here, the 10% alcohol. The rest, the flavor, the 10%. Oh, look at this. Come over here, man. Dragonfly. Look at this. Coming in. Look at this. Look at that. You got him there? Right in front of the freaking camera too. Oh, hang on, that's gonna be blurry, isn't it? Look at this. You got it there? Let me put this away. And we'll keep moving. And then I'll tell you why I've got one thong on and one thong off. And also, I'll tell you what a thong is. Now, you may know a thong, and I do as well. You may know it as a piece of lingerie. It goes whoosh, up the crack of a beautiful ass, or it can go up the crack of any ass, right? It doesn't have to be a beautiful ass. Either way, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this. This here is a thong in Australia. That's a thong, and that's a blown out thong. You see this here? That thing is supposed to go through that hole and stay in there. It's come out, it's popped, and that's why I'm barefoot with one foot, and I've got a ting-tong, a thong on the other foot, because my thong blew out today during this bushwalk, and I had to succumb to walking like this. I'm gonna say I've got about 3 kilometers left on this walk, and you know, it's kind of slow. Kind of clumsy to walk like this, hobbling along, but you know, you could say, well, dude, you probably shouldn't have gone for a hike in the Royal National Park in thongs. You probably should have worn appropriate footwear. However, and this is where you're wrong, so kush, 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 I'm an Aussie. I understand this. I'm born in my hometown is, get off there. Man, there's a lot of ants all over my leg. My hometown is 12 kilometers, no, not even. Probably only about 5 Ks from the Nasho, my hometown. Let's call it 7 to make it even. 7 Ks from the Royal National Park is Denali. A further kilometre from Denali is Oyster Bay. And I was born and bred in Oyster Bay. I'm gonna get this, hang on a second. It went all the way over here. Come on, get out of there. You're coming to me. So, I was born and bred in Oyster Bay, and I know this area. I know, I'm Australian, right? I know how this works. I know that I would not recommend you go hiking through the woods, the forest, the bushland, the Royal National Park in Australia with thongs. I would recommend you wear appropriate footwear, but for me, you do what you damn well please. Here's the path here. I'm gonna lob this down there so I can walk a little without having to hold it. Okay, now I can talk to you without having to hold the ting thong. So yeah, that's the deal. I understand that you might say, you're an absolute nut, man, what are you thinking? Well, I get that. I get that a lot. I get a lot of people on my stream here giving me that kind of crap. Hey, here's my thong. Come here, thong. By the way, it was almost close to extinct anyway. Hey, also, folks, if you want a good thong, this is the brand you want, Havaiana. Now, I know I'm holding one here that's broken, but if you did notice, is that going to get a focus? Probably not, right? Great. There you go. That's the brand, Havaiana. If you noticed, my other Havaiana is a different color. That's because whenever I get a blowout, I keep the initial thong and I mix and mash them, because you often get blowouts. Blowouts are a part of life. This is a part of life with wearing a thong. You're gonna get a blowout, so you might as well keep the one that didn't blow out. Wow, there's people down there. I haven't heard people here all day. Yeah, you might as well keep the thong that didn't blow out, and then you can mix and mash them. Hello, get out of there. That was gonna hit me in the face. Lucky I saws it. Hey, do you think I've had enough time to get myself a coffee or a whiskey or whatever it is I'm doing right now while you're watching this on the stream? Have I had enough time? I feel like I've given myself, that was a big ass rock. I feel like I've given myself just enough time to do what I needed to do. I'm gonna see who's down here. I can hear voices. It's beautiful down there, man. I should have been down there for a swim. If you're gonna see my regular vlog on the YouTube channel, I did take a swim in this water. Whoa! But not right here. I took a swim in a smaller spot. But maybe down here might have been the best spot to do it. I'll show you when we get to this bit of a clearing. I'll show you just how the water looks here. pretty nice. I'll jump down here and show you. No, I've got to go back here actually, I've gone too far. Show you just through this gap here. Permission to put the thong down, but I will pick it back up. I'm not littering, not littering. Look down here, some beautiful water. Very nice. It's very cool, isn't it? All right, let's grab that thong again. And let's continue our trek. But I'm probably gonna wrap up this little segment here. I'll show you a lovely, lovely tree, a lovely plant here, and then we'll wrap this up, right? I'll just show you some sunlight on some beautiful rainforest area, and then we can wrap this up. And hopefully I'll come back with a coffee or whatever it is. Let me just fling my thong up there again. Okay, I wanna show you this. Look at the coloring on here. Look at this, beautiful, right? That's Australia. That's the sunlight coming down onto a beautiful rainforest tree. And this tree plant, you see more of them up there? Let's go along here and have a closer look at these. You see that? You see this? This is beautiful, is it not? These colors. I love colors. I love this kind of stuff. Beautiful. This is the scene here. We're very lucky to have seen it. I'm thankful to have shown it to you. Of course, picking up my thong, I'm not gonna litter here, but this is a very common scene in Australia. You're gonna see this, and this isn't even a rainforest, so technically it's not, but you got cedar trees here, massive. Look at this massive cedar. Look at that. That's not a rainforest tree, but you get a bit of a mismatch here in Australia, a bit of a mismatch. And if you went up further north, you would see actual rainforest. This is kind of like a half-assed rainforest. Still beautiful, and particularly beautiful when the sun comes through the trees and hits these lights like this green. Like, I love this light. Look at this. Got another one right here. Check this out. You got a dead one up there, but that's part of life, isn't it? Part of life is death. And also, I've managed to avoid any coronaviruses. This is my take on, what's the term that they're using? Social separation. You're not amongst people here. You're by yourself. You're in the nature. This is the best way to socially separate. I'm happy to have shown it. Oh, crikey, there's actually a dude here. Speaking of social separation, there's a guy right there. Keeping his distance, he's keeping his distance. I'm gonna let you guys go back to the live stream. I'm gonna go and get myself the whiskey or the coffee, whatever it is. And while I do that, you guys can go back to the live stream.
Ended up with a coffee, not a whiskey. It's too early in the morning for a whiskey. And I'm feeling bad again. And if you ever love me, baby, you'll go easy on me now. Fix me up a cup of coffee, and in a while I'll come around. That's a Ween song. We're not here to sing songs, are we? Are we here to sing songs? I've got my coffee next to a whiskey. Does that count? The Gives a Minute Whiskey Decanter. Hell yeah. Thank you, Sin Master. Hey guys, what did you think of that? Did you like that kind of content? That sort of, you know, I'm not surfing at the moment because I'm up in the Benny Flat, and there's no super quick, there's no slightly random daily song, and there's no outdoor man with the van. So I just figured if I'm out there doing something, I'll shoot some pre-roll, usually around the 10-minute mark, and I'll deliver it to the stream. Is that cool? Is that something you want to see? In an ideal world, that would actually be an IRL stream. So I'm moving towards doing that kind of content as a stream. So you'll just be cruising around and you'll see a notification on DLive or YouTube, probably be DLive, right? Gives a Minute is live, Royal National Park IRL. And that would be me doing that live. That's what, shit. That's what I'm working towards anyway. Sin's Fun Factory up in the chit chat. Sin Master up there. G'day Sin, how you going? Matthew Trokinski. Matthew up in the chit chat too. G'day Matthew, how do you do? So go back up in the chat to see what I've missed in the conversation. Werebearer says boob tube. Now Werebearer is talking about my decision or my the suggestion to have a woman on the channel with me, but it had to be naturally occurring. Like I wouldn't be faking it. It had to be someone I was having a relationship with. Speaking of relationships, that is going to be the content of this stream. Do we see Shyla Rose in the chat? Has Shyla turned up? Shyla, are you here? Shyla Rose! Is she here? I don't even know if she's here. We're going to do this because she suggested it, but I kind of feel a little bit lousy doing it if she's not here. I mean, either way, we'll give her a little while and then we'll swing into it. JD in a can, Werebear, yeah. Canal equals channel, that's correct. Looks like Benon is limping. I was limping. I had one thong missing. Oh, Jimbo, I had tried to eat a wasp as a kid and it stung me in the mouth. Holy shit balls, that gonna hurt. Must have got a real puffy up mouth, right? It's like screw cap wine. See, Jack and Cola is quite nice. If I'm being honest, I love Jack and Coke. But those premixes, well, that one in particular, not nice. Not nice at all. There's a wombat behind you. We get lots of wombats in the national park. They're not uncommon at all. A hairy-nosed wombat. The wombats are actually pretty placid. They're not going to charge you or anything. Beyond Beauty up in the chit-chat. G'day, Beyond Beauty. How do you do? How are you, Beyond? Good to see you. Cheers. Two cannibals eat a clown. One says to the other, he tastes funny. Jimbo. Tim Arskog up in the chit-chat. Werebear says Adidas is better. I reckon Haviana are the best ting-tongs around. Mindy says, I like Chaco thongs, aka flip-flops. What do you guys call tongs then? You mean like barbecue tongs? We call them tongs. Mindy's channel, thongs are butt crack panty. Yeah, so this is the thing in this world. It means the two different things, right? A thong, for what you know, is underwear, right? The string underwear. In Australia, a thong is the sandal on the foot, the jandal, if you're in New Zealand. Jesus. We all know what we're referring to. We all know what we'd rather have as well, if I'm being honest. Matthew Trokinski, what's up? It's RJT team. What, dude? That's RJ. Dude, it's good to have you over here, man. Everybody say hello to Matthew, the RJT team over on DLive. Matthew, dude, again, thank you for last night's donations. You dropped a whole bunch of triple gives. Now, we don't do that here on YouTube, but you did that on DLive. Even though the stream was wreaking havoc and the notification noise wasn't working, you still dropped them. I appreciate you. Matthew, do you recall us yesterday talking about, we were going to talk about relationships and are they all they're cracked up to be here on the YouTube? Today, 12 hours from then, which it is now. Well, I don't see Shyla in the chat, and I'm reluctant to start this conversation without her, but I feel like we should anyway. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, man? Should we start this without Shyla? Yeah, okay. I don't think she's here. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak on her behalf. That's the trouble. I don't want to speak on her behalf. I mean, I can volunteer my experience. I guess this will kick it off, right? This will kick it off. So the conversation idea was that our relationships needed, in order to be sustained as a person, to be fulfilled, to be your very best self. You know, you hear people say, oh, you've got to move through life in a bid to be the best version of yourself you possibly can be. Do you need a relationship to get to that very best person? Or can you achieve that level of the best you can be and not include someone else in that relationship, in that quest? Can you be the best version of yourself single? My thoughts on this, and this can only come from experience, right? I'm not trying to volunteer some psychological understanding of a situation that I've never experienced. I've been through this and I've come out the other side. And you might say, you've come out the other side, dude, but you're jaded. And I'm not going to deny that. My experience I went through certainly paved the position I'm in now. That experience crafted the feeling, and the way I live my life now became because of that experience. So what was the experience? Well, it's nothing revolutionary. It's just a bust up. Happens to everybody, right? People have the most greatest love affair you've ever had. Everyone's got a story like this. Like, my story's not unique. Fell head over heels in love with this girl. She did likewise with me. We went through the situation where you become closer and closer. And we bought a house together. I sold a house to afford a house with her. We went into financial debt together as a unit together. We borrowed money from a personal loan from my mother. We had the beautiful relationship with her family and her family with my family, and everything was in place for what I would have considered the rest of my life, if I'm being honest. I met her when I was 33, and I'd had heaps of relationships before then. I'd done everything I wanted to do with any woman, right? I'm not trying to smoke myself, not trying to upscale the story, not trying to do any of that, but I had experienced a pretty fucking amazing time. And when I met Haley, that's her name, when I met her, I was like, she is the one. She checks off everything. She's perfect. She's the one. I know that. She was younger than me. She thought that of me as well. But being younger, she obviously hadn't experienced what I'd experienced. And at some point, not far into our relationship, just around about the 3rd year mark, she had decided that she wanted to experience a bit of that kind of life. And can it not also fuck up this? Can she do this and keep that? And I'm being very loose about the descriptions here, but if you can picture me being on tour with Tracer, you can picture me being away from home. At one point, I was away from home for about 3 months. Can you picture me and Haley buying our first home together? Can you picture her being there alone because I'm in Europe touring with a rock band? Quite frankly, having women throw themselves at me, and I'm not exaggerating. Hey, I wasn't even in the band, and I had so much opportunity to have any kind of experience, right? I had. It sounds like I'm elaborate. It sounds like I'm trying to make this story better than what it is, but I'm not. I went through. I said no to a lot of different opportunities because I'd found what I wanted. Just bought a house with her. The touring with the band thing was fantastic. Hey, I'm not single though. I've got a great girlfriend and she's sending me awesome shit while I'm touring, right? The long story short, she wanted more. She wanted to fool around while I was away. And I stupidly navigated this with her and said, well, you're younger than me and you haven't experienced this kind of life. Okay, so let's set some parameters up here. Let's set some goals. Let's set some rules. Let's set this in place. We don't want this to affect our relationship, but if you're in that mind, then we've got to sort of navigate this. Ultimately, she had already slept with somebody else and she was using that as a disguise. And she went on to have a relationship with this person outside of this scenario, if you like, outside of these parameters. What she decided she wanted, she actually went forward and made into a full-blown relationship. And I mentioned she was younger than me. I was 33 when we met, and she was 22. Is that right? 20? No, she was 24. There was a 13-year age gap between me and Haley. I was 33. You work out whatever that is. She's 21 at that point. I can't work it out exactly. But what I'm getting at is that the man that she cheated on me at the time was 50. What can I say there? What can I say is that she obviously had daddy issues. She had lost her mother to cancer about maybe 3 years prior. Her father's a great gentleman. I've hung out. Bernie, a great guy. I got a lot of time for Bernie. My family loved him. He ticked off all the check boxes. But there was something in that family that gave Haley an attraction for an older man. Me, 13 years her senior, 33. Can someone do the math? She's 21. She's 21. I can't do them. 21. Hang on, let's work it out. If she was 21, 31 would be 10 years. 32. There you go. She was 21 when I met her, and I was 33. Well, what I'm saying is the gentleman that she cheated on was 50. And from the affidavit, because we went through court, because we bought a house together, from the affidavit, if I understand correctly, and this is going back now 3 years, she's still with this guy. So this guy would now be, I met her in 2013. What are we now? 2020, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 7 years ago. This gentleman will be nearing 60. If I'm to understand correctly, he'd be nearing 60 and she would be mid 30s. More money. And we're bare. I gotta say, I wouldn't have considered that to be a factor because I wouldn't consider myself wealthy. When I met Hayley, I had 2 properties. I bought a house I had 3 actually. I had a house in Sydney. I had 2 houses in Adelaide. Now, I'd had a house in Sydney and I had a house in Adelaide, and I just bought an apartment or a 1-bedroom apartment in Adelaide. Now, I sold the Sydney property to afford the second one in Adelaide. And then when I met Hayley, I'm going to go to this finger here. When I met Hayley, we sold the one that I just bought. So I just bought this, we sold it, and we pulled all of the money that I had from all those properties into another property. Now, what did Hayley bring to that contribution? No finances. She brought a car loan. She went and bought a brand new vehicle, a Mazda 3, a Mazda, whatever you guys call it, a Mazda. She brought one of those, brand new. And so she brought into that equation a debt. I brought in the equity from 3 other houses. She brought nothing. And when I said we took a personal loan from my mother, what we wanted to buy was we were short $30,000. The bank would only loan us $560 or whatever. No, $530. The total cost was $560, and the bank would only give us $530. So I approached my mother and said, "This is what we want to buy." And this was in Adelaide, a city that's, a plane ride from Sydney. So we flew my mother over, and we took her and showed her the house. Now, what was so special about this house? Well, when I was a photographer. When I met Hayley, she was fooling around with photography. She got very, very good very quickly. Now, she's an attractive woman, and she used her attractiveness to gain a foothold in the beauty industry, right? And she did. She already had a skill for photography, but once sounds like I'm wanking myself here, but once she met me and she learned how to use light and she learned how to use composition better, her photography just went like skyrocketed. She nailed the beauty industry in Adelaide within the space of about 1.5 years. She took work from people that were established for years. I remember she went to a workshop by a guy called Peter Colson, and she was like smoking this guy. Like, this guy's amazing. And she went to his workshop, and I thought she'd come back saying, how rad it is. And she's like, "The guy's shit, hey, he's really shit. He's got great marketing, but his photography's garbage." And she says, "I'm better than him, and I know I'm better than him." And then she started launching her own workshops, and they were selling out. And so the house that we bought was not just a house. It had a separate dwelling. It was actually used to be used as a dancing studio. There's like a little scout hall. Do you know what a scout hall is? Like a separate dwelling with massive roof and it's like a basketball court inside, right? And so we bought that house knowing that we would use that as our studio for photography and for workshops. And that's why we really, really, really needed that space. And it was up in the Adelaide Hills, up in a place called Aldgate. Beautiful, beautiful, a real old stone cottage. The most beautiful place, right? Really pretty, really, really, really beautiful. And we bought it, and we were short money. And Mum loaned us the extra 30, and we lived in that, and we did what we were going to do. We set up the studio, and we had everything, right? At that point. There you go. I am not going to get emotional about this. Hell no. We had everything that we wanted. Unfortunately, she wanted something additional. She wanted to fool around. She wanted to be the young girl free. She didn't want it to jeopardize what she'd had with me, but she wanted to do it. And in a stupid way, I understood that because I've done that. Like I said at the beginning of this spiel, I've done that. I've done that endlessly, countlessly, multiple times. I know what she wanted and I know she could get it. She's beautiful. I'll tell you something else in a little while. I don't know what she's like these days, but when I met her, she was beautiful, beautiful girl. She was becoming absolutely stunning. But anyway, she wanted to use that for her own, to see what she could do, right? I carelessly thought, well, okay, let her have, in my mind, and I discussed this with the Tracer boys, but in my mind, I knew that she would do it anyway. It turns out she'd already done it. So I found out after the fact that she was kind of clearing it with me because she'd already done it. But I thought if I said no, and no, you're in a relationship and we've bought a house, you need to calm your tits, right? Settle your shit down. She would just be like, well, you stifled me when I was younger, and that's why I'm cheating on you 10 years later. And by then we'd have children and we'd be married, and it would be a hell of a lot worse, right? So I said yes, with parameters. We've got to set this shit up, right? And she basically blew out all those parameters and did what she wanted. And she's still with that gentleman now, as far as I'm aware, and that's 7 years ago. Maybe times have changed. Just a quick sidestep there from that. Hope you're okay, mate. Thanks, Adrian. You still carry a torch for this girl? Hell no, Bear. I don't carry a torch for her at all. And I'm getting to that. But what I'm trying to say is that obviously if you start talking about it and you start thinking, you drag up emotions, right? The emotions are never going to change. They're always going to be there. The emotion is, at this point, when I talk about that house in Aldgate and the studio and the life we had, and I combine all that with Tracer and the touring and waking up in the morning and hearing the chickens crowing, we had chickens and the creek, and if I put all that into the head, of course I get sad, because that's like a separate life that doesn't exist for me. That's like a thing that happened. But what I want to say is, as hard as it was, the moment that we busted up, the moment we ended it and I came back to Sydney, I have not searched. Obviously, we blocked each other on Facebook. We disabled all the connections were gone. I have not looked at anything Hayley Renee photographer. Hayley Renee, her real name, Hayley Renee Kohn, K-O. She's German. There's that too. Hayley Renee Kohn, K-O-H-N. I've not looked at her at all. And I swear to you, I've not searched her. I've not tried to follow her photography career. I've not looked any person on Facebook I don't really use Facebook, but when I was using Facebook, any person that had anything to do with her, if anyone posted anything to do with Hayley, I just deleted them straight away. There was a really, really, really hard time when I was doing that, when Michael Brown, the frontman, guitarist, great friend from Tracer, his mother was going to Hayley Kohn workshops, right? She's a budding photographer, and she was attending Hayley's workshops. I sent her a message saying, I'm going to have to do this. It's nothing against you. Unfriend. And I unfriended Mike's mum. And it killed me. It totally killed me. But I don't want to... The Band-Aid came off. The relationship's over. I don't want to know anything about the girl. I don't want to have anything... I don't want to have any reminder of her. I don't want that to be a thing. The reason I'm so... harsh about that is because this is fucked, right? This is fucked. When we split, Hayley went from our house up in the hills and she went and stayed with her father. Now he lives in a place called Port Adelaide, or more or less Port Adelaide. It's a little bit of a rough area. It's Adelaide. It's not that, although at the highest crime rate per capita, but that's not Port Adelaide. That's Hindley Street. Anyway. And I swear, and you've no reason to not believe this, but when she turned up to her father's place, she obviously took all of her camera gear, right? And she had that stuff at the house, and within the space of a day and a half, someone had stolen it. Stolen her camera, stolen her lens, the f1.8 lens I was talking about the other day, the 85mm, the portrait lens. Someone had stolen that from the house. Of course, she accused me. You know, fuck you, you fucking stole. You know I was at Bernie's, so you came down and you, either you did it or you set it up with somebody else and you had my gear stolen, so I can't work. I was like, man, I swear to you, I had nothing to do with this. I'm up here rolling around on my back, screaming in agony at the pain that this relationship bust up is causing me. I'm doing shit to my own body that I completely regretted. I was in a mental state. I wound up in the hospital and you're accusing me of stealing your camera. I said, Hayley, I swear to you, you've got daggers for me and I've got daggers for you, but I have nothing to do with this. I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. And I even said, you can take my 1DX, take my camera for all the things I need, take it and use it because I don't know what you're talking about. And she came back up to the house. She drove back up from Port Adelaide to Aldgate. I saw her come down the driveway. I was like, I was so fucked because that's the girl of my dreams, and she's coming here to scream at me for something I don't know about, and I'm crying inside for her to sort of somehow work this shit out. And she comes to me, and I remember she was up at the clothesline. She was taking off some. I was still doing the washing, right? She took off all her clothes off the washing line. And I went up there and I got on my knee in front of her and I said, Hayley, on the grave of my father, I don't know anything about this situation. I have nothing to do with it. I'm sorry to hear about it. I don't know where your camera is. It's nothing to do with me. On the grave of Julius, my father, I'm making this to you. And she looked straight me in the eye and said, you're dead to me, and turned around and walked away. And at that point, I was like, that's it. I got to take this Band-Aid and rip it off and never go back. There's nothing I can do here. Never. Like what am I going to do here? I can't force someone to believe, and it was killing me, like absolutely killing me. And she didn't believe me. So one time about 8 months ago, and I think I told the stream this, I got a Facebook notification of a previous history or something, you know, looking back on your history or whatever. And I carelessly clicked it. It wasn't anything to do with Hayley, but she had liked it or commented or something. Can't have been a comment because I would have seen the comment. But there was an avatar, Hayley Renee. And I can't click her handle because we're blocked each other, right? So all I see is a grayed out Hayley Renee, but I saw the avatar and it was only a little thumbnail like this. And I looked at it for about 7 or 8 minutes, just sitting at my computer, looking at this tiny little 40 pixel by 40 pixel avatar. And I just lost it. I lost my shit. I almost went right back to that moment when I was on my knees telling her I had nothing to do with it. And I realized that even a 40 pixel avatar can fuck me up. And that's why I'm thankful I've never searched for her. I don't want to know anything about her. I don't care. I can't let myself think about that because it doesn't do me any favors. It doesn't do me, like, even this is hurting me to even talk about it because I haven't done it and I don't want to do it. And that's the point of this stream. Do we need that good of a relationship? Whatever, like that, for me, that was the best, right? The best, Jerry. That was the greatest thing ever to happen to me. Do we need that though to be something? Because I'm still something now and I was something before I met her. Yet whatever it was that I had with her has completely messed me up now, to the point where I regard women a lot differently than I ever have. I've had relationships post Hayley. I feel sorry for those girls that have been involved with me, to be honest. I've treated them pretty poorly. I'm not gonna lie. I had a girlfriend, I guess, for about, I had a girlfriend for a year after Hayley, and I didn't even know it was a year. And she came over here. Actually, it was right here in the Benny flat. She came here saying, "You know what today is?" I was like, "No, I don't." She said, "It's our 1 year anniversary." I was like, "What? We've been together for a year?" I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't even. I didn't know, and I hadn't even thought about it. And then she said, "Isn't it time that you introduced me to Baxter and Claudia?" I'd kept this girl separate from my family. After Haley, I'd kept that girl completely separated from my family. And she said, "I want to meet Baxter and Claudia." And I said, "No, I don't want you to meet them, because you're going to eventually walk away from me, and that this relationship's going to end. And then what am I going to do? Explain to them there's another one of Uncle Benny's girlfriends that Baxter and Claudia were still talking about. Remember when we were in Allgate for Christmas and we had the water slide with Haley, and and Baxter thinks that Haley did a poo in the garden. The things that kids remember. Remember when Haley pooed in the garden? All this stuff that they still talked about Haley, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna bring another girl into my family to have it move to the point where we don't talk, and then the kids remember, what about that girl what about that black-haired girl, Kat? What about Kat? She was beautiful. So, is it worth it? In my mind, no, it's not. It's worth it if you've never had it. Now, I've had it, and I've had it, like I said before, I've had it multiple times. I've had amazing, earth-shattering relationships. The Canadian girl, the Dutch girl, Tony. I know what it is. And if you've never had it, you should strive your whole life to have it at least once. There's no denying that. You should do whatever it takes to find that earth-shattering love. You want a completely out-of-body experience, fall head over heels in love with someone, and have them do the same back. If it's a one-way street, it's not much fun, but if you get it back, it's goddamn beautiful. But if you've had it, and you're old enough to realize what it is, you don't actually need it to be something. I've consciously decided to not have it again. Am I ruling it out entirely? No, but I'm not spending any more of my time pursuing it, or I'm not spending any more of my energy dedicated to finding it because I've had it. That's the core message I want to give today. If you've never had it, fucking hell, go for it. Quit your job, change countries, move interstate, get a different, do whatever it is to get that. But just be aware that it probably will fail. I don't know anybody that's had this thing work. Not even my friends that are religious. Like my friends that are religious, they've all gone through divorces. Hell, the ones that have gone through divorces in the religious contingent, their wives are now lesbians. So not even the religious crew have the answer, right? Nobody works this shit out. It always ends badly. More or less. Not all, no, I'm a little pessimistic, but nearly all the time it ends bad. Now, I have been disregarding the chat, and I will go ahead and read the chat now because this is what this live stream's for, a chat. That's my scenario. That's my situation. That's why I am how I am. And I recognize that it's not the greatest way to live. There are things that I miss. Of course, I miss the nookie, the sex, the company. Of course, like we joked about a thong in the bush, right? Like broken a thong going for a bushwalk in the Nasho. You know, it would have been better than walking through the Nasho with the Jack Daniels and my broken thong, doing that with a girl and then having wild sex on top of a rock in the bush. A real thong, right? That would have been way better. Of course it would. But at what cost? What's the cost there? Because I don't want to go back to that mindset of being on my knees at the washing line, swearing on my father's grave and having her say, "You're dead to me," and then turning around. I never want to see that. I never want that to be anywhere near me again with anybody. You wanted this, Shyla. You wanted this. You're not even here. Shyla Rose, you wanted this discussion and I'm giving it. And all right. So back up in the chit chat. And Matthew says she can always go over it later if you're on, or can get her to Discord message. Yeah, that's true. Mindy says, I think you can do it too, single. Having had the relationship makes you better. I mean, if you are a better person, See, I'd regard myself as being a better person now, but I'd also definitely suggest that during the bust up, during the breakdown, I was the worst person I could possibly be. I recall so Haley had this thing. We had this massive glass mirror, a real old wrought iron mirror. And she used to write in lipstick on the mirror, like motivational memes, if you like quotes. And some of them were so dubious. Some of them were like, basically, she wrote this shit on the mirror and it was just the opposite of what she was doing, right? She basically essentially waffle. But she had this thing called dream. It was like this big printed out 3-dimensional word saying dream. And above it, the image that she got as the cover of a magazine, her first cover. Like I said, she's a brilliant photographer, and half of me misses seeing her work because she is brilliant. She was brilliant. She's brilliant. She might have even given up. I don't know what she's doing. And please, nobody fucking tell me. I don't want to see anything about her in my chat. If you know what she's doing, God help me, don't put it in the chat. But she had this massive A0 print on the wall of her first cover. And the dream thing on the mantelpiece above we had a fucking fireplace, right? Beautiful. I took that cover, I smashed it into the bin. I grabbed the dream printout, I smashed it into the bin. I took a photo of it, I sent it to her and said, "Here's your fucking dream." And I think I called her a cunt as well. And I regret that shit, right? I regret that. I had sex with her best friend just to spite her. There's a girl called Jessie, a cute little blonde girl. She's always been sexy, right? Little cute little blonde girl. And Haley was always on edges with her. Like they were always fighting about something. Jessie was in something with some boys or whatever the shit was, right? Jessie was this, Jessie was that, and Haley was this and Haley was that. There was always this conflict. And when Haley and I broke up, Jessie, her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, Jessie's ex-boyfriend was a winemaker. And she turned up, "Oh, I heard about you and Haley," and she turned up with a couple of bottles of red. I was like, "Well, okay, come in, I'm a wreck, but come on in. By the way, if you're in here, Haley's gonna hate this, right?" So we ended up calling Haley on a speakerphone, and I was talking to her, and there was something that Jessie had told me that proved that Haley had fucked somebody else while I was on tour the first time. She'd slept with somebody. And I had proof of that from Jessie. And I was sitting there with Jessie, and Jessie was like dead quiet, and I'm talking to Haley, and I confronted her about this situation on speakerphone, and then she tried to get herself out of it, and I said, "Haley, I'm sitting here with Jessie, and she's shown me the series of text messages that you sent her after you'd done what you'd done. I'm looking at it right now, so there's no denying it." And then she said, "You got Jessie in our house?" I was like, "Hold on a second. You left. It's not our house any longer. The house is gone. It's not ours. Everything's done. Jessie's here to comfort me, and she's told me what I need to know." And I hung up, and then Jessie said, "Let's drink more wine," and we did. And then I got to tell you, we didn't have sex that night. She's like, "Oh, we sort of messed around," and she's like, "What? Let's consummate this." And I was like, "No, I'm still messed up here." And it wasn't until the second, third, and fourth nights that we ended up doing that. And I sent Haley a message saying I had sex with Jessie in your bed. I was like, fuck. And I regret that. If I'm being honest, I regret that. I don't regret the sex with Jessie. I regret rubbing it into Haley. That was immature. That was stupid. That was not cool. And I got pushed into doing something that I regret because of the scenario. And that's what I'm saying. Like, is the ultimate thing worth it? I don't think it is. Webear, are you playing Portal game music in the background? No, I'm not actually. I'm playing a song that I put together. This is just a piece of music that I put together from my underlaying audio. Does it sound like something you know? Sinmaster says, at this point, any relationship would drastically affect the type of person you are and could negatively affect your streaming life. I mean, that's very true. I wasn't doing YouTube before when I was with Haley, and I wonder how it would play out. But I tell you, I think if I'm being dead honest, I think I know what would happen. Haley and I would probably have a Pornhub account. We'd probably have a separate online channel dedicated to making an income off sex. That's what we'd probably do. If I'm being dead honest, that's probably what we'd do. We did make inroads into this with photography and whatnot, and like I said, she's a beautiful girl, and we I don't want to talk too much about it, but if you could extrapolate that further forward and we were still together, I think we would have a vlog channel on Pornhub or on OnlyFans or one of those joint things, right? I think that's where we'd be at. New relationships need a lot of time and work, and women are needy as fuck sometimes. I mean, yeah. I can't see that there's a handle here from someone not speaking English. I don't know what your handle. I don't know what your handle is. I can see you up there in the chat, and I appreciate you being here. But I can't say your name. I can see it. I can see you there, but I just can't say your name. So I apologize. I don't know. It's like some Arabic or something. I can't quite see what that is. But g'day, welcome to the stream. You've come in on a strange one, if I'm being honest, but nice to have you. And Hendrik says, yep, almost exactly the same, although she was 10 years older. So you had an older woman, Hendrik, okay. And that's when, okay, Mindy says, it's okay, man, hope you're okay. This is when I started to sort of go down a little. I knew that would happen. I don't want to talk about it again. Let's make this the only stream we talk about this. Just forget about Haley and have a Tommy tank. Skyfly Bry. I'm not sure what a Tommy tank is, and neither's Mindy. What's a Tommy tank? Mindy's channel. Tommy tank is the word that ends in ank and starts with a W. I did post that, but it doesn't display. Oh, have a wank? Forget about Haley and have a wank? Dude, I'm a single male. I know all about that. There's no dramas there, right? How do you think I got such strong arms here? It ain't from the surfing. But thank you for looking out for me. Beyond Beauty says, no wonder you're not a relationship guy. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't do anything wrong here as well. That's got to be said. I definitely fucked this up. As much as Haley fucked it up, I totally fucked this up. There's heaps of things I did wrong. Heaps of things. So it's not all on her. Either way, it is what it is, and it did go where it went. And that's where I am now from the other side of it. Regardless of who's at blame, who's more at blame, or if you're going to level blame out, I think that's pointless. Look, let me be clear about this. In a beautiful situation, in a beautiful world, and always with hindsight, of course, you'd only ever get to this point. I would love to be able to go back in time, get to the point where it all fucked up and just go, hey, Haley, fuck. If we keep doing what we're doing to each other right now, we are going to end up separated and it's going to hurt both of us. Hell, can we just separate for a while? Can we just get away from each other? Can we just take pause? Can we just... You know what? I feel like Haley did say that at one point. I think she did say that. And I think I said no. I don't know. I don't think there's an answer to this stuff. I don't think there's an answer. I don't think there's a clear answer. I think this is just an experience, right? This is just life. This is just one part of life that I went through. And I'm not the only one that does this. Everyone goes through it. What sort of woman says things like that? I mean, she's 21. Don't forget she's 21 and she was becoming a very attractive woman. Actually, I had an interesting thing at the beginning of our relationship. Two things that stoked me about Haley when I met her. When I first met her, she said, I've just come out of a relationship and I was with him for, I think she said 2.5 years. And at this point, I don't want a relationship. I just want to have some casual fun. And I said, okay, I understand. I'm kind of looking, oddly enough, I'm looking for a relationship, but if you're not, then I understand what you're saying. Let's just have some fun. That's cool. The other thing that she did, or she had, which stoked me, she had frogs. She kept frogs in an aquarium or a terrarium in a house, green tree frogs. I was like, wow, man, I love frogs, man. Even if Even if we just have a bit of sex and we watch some movies and we get to hang out with the frogs, this is a win-win for me. It's like, cool. But then what happened was she got really sick. No coronavirus. This is before that shit. She got really, really ill. And I went over to her house with a care package. Now, she was actually at her father's house up the street and not at her house. And so I left the care package on her door and texted her and said, I know you can't see me because you're chronically ill, but I left you a care package and let me know when you're feeling better. And she said she went back to her house sick as a dog and picked up the care package. And at that point, she said, I knew I wanted a relationship with you because you proved to me that you were thinking about me and you wanted me to feel better. And it wasn't just about the frogs and the sex, right? And that's when she got better, she called me over and she said, I want a relationship with you. If you, I know I said I just want casual, but if you want to step into a relationship, I'd like to with you. And I was like, well, yeah, I do want that. And I felt like at that point, she was, even though she was 21, I felt like she had a bit more smarts about her because she could navigate that properly. Not just because of the care package, but because of the way she kind of like changed her tone and changed her tune. I felt like this is a smarter woman than what she's letting on. And my attraction for her grew even stronger at that point. And I feel like that smartness and that ability to sort of navigate situations, I think she lost that as she grew and she became, it sounds crazy, as she became hotter, as she grew into her, she's 21, right? She still had a bit of growing to do. As she became something, I think she became a little bit less smart about it. I think she sort of let her physical appearance kind of dictate the way she moved about her life, unfortunately. And I guess a lot of women do that, and they use the physical to, yeah. But what I was going to say is her previous boyfriend said these words, Hayley, you don't photograph very well, Hayley. And when I met Hayley, she was sending me fucking filthy nudes, right? Totally debaucherous, filthy, hot stuff. And she was always complaining. She was saying, oh, I don't look good here. And I'm like, Hayley, you look absolutely smoking. And these are just shitty iPhone 3. This is back in the iPhone 3 and 4 days. These are shitty cell phones, right? These are crap. I said, let me do a real shoot with you. I can shoot this stuff. I made a photo shoot with her. She was like, what? I look amazing. I'm like, I know. And she said, my ex-boyfriend said these words, Hayley, you don't photograph very well. She photographed amazingly. Anyway. Sounds like those poo joggers I've been reading about. Poo joggers. It really tears you up, not when the rants are threatening. Mindy's channel. Sorry, I missed this. Mindy, you said that's how bad I felt when I asked my husband to leave after his final drunken rant. It tears you up, and not when the rants are threatening. Yeah. I don't have any experience with physical violence. None, that never happened between Hayley and I. I'm not the kind of person to punch somebody, let alone my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever. I beat myself up physically and mentally, but I wouldn't touch her. And she didn't do it. She never did anything like that to me. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved. I agree with that. Mindy says, holy shit, yeah. And you're talking about the dead to me. And Adrian says, anyone that says things like, you're dead to me, have a definite issues that you probably have never been able to fix. Yeah. I'd agree with that. None your business. What a cool handle. I'm new here. I'm from Australia. Well, g'day, none your business. Sorry, I haven't been able to converse with the chat as much as I'd like. This topic is close to my heart. That being said, let's not talk about it ever again. I'm only doing this because it was a suggestion from Charlotte. You sound like the better man. Honestly, admitting your faults, what she did was wrong, honestly. I mean, the idea of her being young and saying, I want to experience life, basically she said, when you tour with Tracer, can I be a single girl and can it not affect our relationship? And I stupidly said yes. Bad call on my behalf. I should have been But then as Tracer said to me, and as everybody else said to me, it doesn't matter what you said at that point. It's a loaded question. If you said no, you'd be a cunt for not letting her live a life. If you said yes, you'd be a cunt for not protecting your relationship. Whatever you say, you're going to be wrong here. Beyond Beauty, is this the same one from the movie? Oh, hell no. No. See, that's what I'm saying. I've lived relationships. That one, that's Shelley. That's from like, wow, that's from like 2000. That's from the year 1996 to the year 2000. What I'm talking about is from the year 2010 to 2013. So 10 years after Hayley. And in between that was Jenny in Canada and Anna in the Netherlands and Tony in Adelaide. So I've had this. I've had this up the wazoo. I'm done with it, to be completely frank. I'm done with it. Completely done. Now, when I'm saying I'm done, I'm not saying I'm going to live a life of celibacy. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all. I'll have whatever sex comes my way, but a full-blown relationship, I got to tell you, I don't think I'm going to be in for it. I'm just being completely honest. I don't think I'm up for it. Beware of bunny boilers, Paula Erdbeer. What is that? Women who boil bunnies alive, aka nutters. David Prettybread up in the chit chat. Hello, sorry I'm late. That's cool, David. Good to see you, man. All the way from Ireland. You've missed a bit of a banger, though, I can tell you. We've had a discussion about relationships and my thoughts on why I don't think they're needed, in the sense that you can be your own person. You can be a functioning, fully blown civilian in society without the need for a relationship. I think I can be. It's not the same for everybody, but for me, I can be that person. I don't blame you. That's major heartbreak multiple times. It is, but it's just life, isn't it? Isn't that just life? Ups and downs. Just happens to be a bad down, but it's just life. I don't know. At some point in my life, maybe I will know. I don't know now. There is one other element to this, which is pretty shitty. I'm still linked to Hayley in the sense that our bank account is still linked because of the house we sold and because of the $30,000 loan from my mother, personal loan. Hayley refuses to pay that back. She took me to court to try to get me to pay all that money. She tried to take my house in Adelaide from me. So there's this ongoing, well, it's not ongoing, it's ended because she didn't actually get legal representation. She faked it all. That's another story, but it sucks because when I go into my bank account, I still see Hayley's car loan and she still sees my home loan. That's the only other thing tying me to that woman, and I don't know how long that's going to last because Hayley threatened me with legal action and then didn't even lawyer up. I lawyered up and she didn't, and I spent $7,000 trying to fight her for $7,000. So we paid back half of that $30,000 loan to the tune of $15,000 left. $15,000 left to pay off my mother. Split it in half, $7,500 each. I paid off Hayley's $7,500. I paid off $15,000 to my mother, and then I get a lawyer letter from some fake lawyer that Hayley made up. She's trying to get my house off me. I was like, you know what? You got to pay your half of the personal loan to my mother. She's like, no, I don't have to. I'm not legally obliged to that. This is coming from her lawyer. So I paid for a real lawyer, spent $7,500 to chase $7,500 from her. So I'm sorry, I'm bitter right now. And I hear my outro music rolling. This is the end of the stream. I'm gonna take chill pill, calm down. Thank you for the conversation, folks. I hope you guys learned something about me and about relationships. I'll see you all on DLive or here next week. Cheers.
Oh, that's we're out of time.